this one. This is a classic. This is where Ralph dresses up as a man from space.
What do you mean you've seen this? It's brand new.
Shit. Here we go again, guys. Calcio guys. Adriano, Gianni, I'm Nicholas. I'm not just saying, here we go again, another week of the Calcio guys. It's another playoffs for Italy. It feels like it's rinse and repeat. Not surprised. I think at the end of the day that they're in the playoffs. We obviously knew there was a chance, but disappointed nonetheless. I think disappointed in the way that they played on Sunday against Norway. Unfortunately, with a home World Cup, it's becoming a real possibility now that Italy is not in it. I mean, home World Cup for us, guys. As much, we want to see the Azzurri in it when they're in our own backyard, but we have to wait till March, another 4 months away. But Calcio guys, you can follow us on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You know it. Guys, how you doing?
Not bad. Kind exhausted, of busy with life, but that's helping me out with this type of situation. How about you, Adri?
Yeah, I'm okay. Feeling a bit under the weather the last couple of days, but had some nice eggplant parmigiana earlier tonight, so it kind of boosted the morale a bit. Even though this Italy is giving us more nightmares than dreams, but yeah, man, happy to be back. Talking culture. Unfortunately, it's on this matter, but a lot to talk about and can't wait to get going.
So obviously we saw the last two matches of the World Cup qualifiers on Thursday. They beat Moldova 2-0, goals late from Esposito and Mancini, followed by a 4-1 loss at the San Siro, a stadium that we've always talked about brings bad luck to the Azzurri. A game that started off well with a goal from Esposito, and then finished not so well. 4 straight goals from Norway to put it to bed. Not that it mattered much, but more for pride, just the fact that Norway beat us twice by 3 goals margin each time. It makes it look even worse. It goes to show Norway was the better team in the group. I don't want to hear no complaints about the format and this and that. Like, Norway was the better team. They won all 6 games or all 8 games, and they got the points they deserve. First World Cup since '98. They deserve it. Kudos to Norway. But for Italy, I didn't like the way they played in these 2 games. Especially the game on Thursday, I was really not a fan of. It felt like they already had their minds on Sunday, but they really had an opportunity on Thursday to make up that goal differential and to go out and only score 2 goals against Moldova late in an uninspiring game. I get it. It was, an opponent that was playing. They were playing defensively the whole time. They had nothing to play for themselves. But the fact that they left it so late, and if Italy drew, that would have been it. Norway would have qualified. Sunday would have meant nothing. And so I was really disappointed in the way they played. I would have liked to see more goals. Even if Italy had scored 1 more goal, they would have had to go into Sunday with, okay, I'm going to air quotes this, only goals needed. Obviously, we know that it didn't make the difference, but I would have liked to see a good 5, 6, 7 goal showing against Moldova. And we didn't see that, and I think Gattuso, even with his lineup not starting Retegui, kind of said that as well. Like, hey, we're gonna go out, get a formality win here, and then we're gonna focus on Sunday. And it didn't work out. And Sunday, I think they did start off well. As I said, they had the goal, and right when Esposito scored, right, there's a bit of hope. 11th minute, they needed 1 goal every 10 minutes. There's just a bit of hope. But it quickly died down. They did have some chances, but it quickly died down. And then Norway, I think the second half of that point, Italy knew it was done. Norway took over. Mancini pissed off Holland, and that's all she wrote. But here we go again, guys. Playoffs. But I don't know. We'll start just focusing on these 2 games. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, just for me personally, before I'll go here before Gianni, but just disappointing. I mean, you mentioned obviously could have scored maybe a goal or 2 more against Moldova this past Thursday, but it should have been a goal or more in all the games. But after the first loss to Norway, guys, like this 9-0 miraculous, hopeful result that every Italian was hoping for would have been trimmed down to maybe a 4-5, even 3, if you will. If they kind of mustered up some more goals in the previous matchups, like against Moldova, on aggregate 2 games they scored 4 goals against Moldova. Like that was worrisome. The Estonia matches, the Israel match, the 5-4, like that should have never have happened. We needed to, sweep the floor with these again, no disrespect, but smaller nations, and insert our dominance. And again, I know Italy is not known for the powerhouse of scoring goals at will and at ease, but come on, guys, like enough's enough. We on paper, me personally, to the man, I think Italy is better than pretty much all these teams. It for me, it ends up being up here, between the ears, up top. It's the mentality, and that's not just on the players, on the coach, if you want to say, on the coaching staff, but from top to bottom, guys, it's the mentality of, again, not only the national team, the senior national team, but from the FIGC to the federation, everybody in charge. Like, it's how many times have we been saying it? It's a mentality thing, and again, nothing has changed. We go back 2 World Cups ago when we were first going bananas about this topic, and we're two tournaments removed from that, and we're still singing the same tune. So you can have whoever you want on the pitch, you can have whoever you want on the touchline as manager. I know a lot of fans and people are already calling for Gattuso's head, but let's face it, it is what it is. Like, he got put into this situation. He took a job that nobody else wanted, took the job, said, you know what, I'll go into the fire, and see what I can do. And listen, like it or not, and they weren't convincing. Granted, okay, I can give you that on some of these matches, but out of 6 games, he won 5. So you know what? I don't think it's all on Gattuso. I know a lot of people were blaming Gattuso, didn't like the way he, maybe spoke in press conferences, or just his comments, or what have you. But again, I wouldn't circle the whole blame on Gattuso personally. But again, in these matches, especially in this window, you kind of knew what your result would be. You need to kind of smash Moldova to give you a bit of a chance against Norway. They barely squeaked by Moldova, 2-0, and scoring in the 88th minute for me is a disgrace. A goal by Mancini, his first for the national team, and hopefully his last, because this guy cannot defend. I'm sorry, I don't care what minute it is and what game, how much meaningful it is, and all that. But if you're backing up on, you know, uh, the second string to Erling Haaland on a Norway team that, again, you don't even know the guy's name. What was his name? Stunad Larsen? What was his name? I didn't even catch, but he turned Mancini into a Stunad the way he was defending. Like, it's elementary things, guys, and it pisses us off as Italians and as fans of the national team. But it's one of these things where it's not one thing to blame. It's a collective thing. And when you put certain people in positions to make decisions and whatnot, these are kind of the results you're going to get. And it's unfortunate. Again, kudos to Norway. They got the job done. Even though I personally still think, to a man, they might have maybe what, 2, 3. I'll even give them 4 players better than Italy on paper. But they had the mentality. They had the killer instinct. They had the group were strong, and they were able to bully every team in the group. We lost to Norway 7-1 on aggregate. 7-1. I said the 4-0 on aggregate to Moldova that we took. It just simply wasn't good enough. So, you want to say it was a poor showing, and I don't know. Like, they were checked out after it seemed like long ago. Like, they were already
As soon as
saying,
they lost to Norway the first time, I think we knew it was playoffs. and
was
they knew it
play.
too.
We said it from after that match, right? Right, guys. The last match day. It's going to come to the last match day. Ultimately, we probably didn't predict that Norway was going to really run away with the group the way they did. And again, chapeau to them. They did what they had to do. But you know, they were talking about playoffs. It seems like long ago, and you can cue in the Jim Mora Indianapolis Colts playoffs. You're talking about playoffs, like that quote. It lives rent free in our heads. It seems like because it's crazy how many times we have to go through this misery just to get into the World Cup. It's crazy, but yeah. Listen, I didn't like how they left the game late against Moldova. The worst chances they weren't able to finish. Gattuso was surprised they even managed to win, which again, people didn't like his comments there because he changed, I would say, almost the whole lineup and still managed to get a result. When you have a guy like Brian Cristante as your captain for the national team, for me, there you go. It sums it up all there. Some of these players that are on the pitch, I've said it in the past with other players, and we've said it on the show, like shouldn't be wearing the Azzurri blue. But again, they started off well in the Norway game, which I liked. I wanted to see that. And the biggest thing for me before the Norway match and going into the Norway match, knowing the 9-0 miraculous result that Italy needed, just go out with pride, guys. Just go out with pride. Like that is the least you can do at home in front of your fans and everybody watching. Every Italian watching around the world. Just go out with pride. You know what? You're not going to be able to amass 9 goals. Okay, fine. You know what? That's okay. We kind of knew our fate. That we can kind of accept that. But at least go out with pride. Like you start off so well, and in the second half they woke up the beast. They woke up the beast, and they paid for it. And that I guess maybe that shows where we are. In terms of a nation, I don't know, but simply not good enough. Disappointing, and I know we'll get into other points as we go along. We don't want to say everything right now, but it's like you said, Nick. Oh shit, here we go again. So it is what it is. Johnny.
Well, I think you said a lot of good points there that I kind of share the same sentiment. One thing I do want to add, though, is this whole thought that one comment that I really didn't like was the comment he made about the way, like, we qualify for these events and, with the kind of phases that we have to go through. And we have to stop using that as a crutch. We have to stop with those excuses. It just pisses me. Like, I'll just swear, I don't give a shit. It just pisses me the fuck off when I see the fans fucking bitching and moaning about it too. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, just absolutely shut the fuck up. Yeah. Like, you should not be bitch. Like, if you pride yourself in being such a dominant force in the world of soccer, why the fuck do you have to bitch and moan about qualifications? You should be there, no problem. Oh, Brazil's got 6 losses. Italy has 2, but Brazil in the World Cup and Italy isn't. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a flying fuck? Fatti toy, fatti cazzi toy, even better. Fuck. You know what I mean? Like that's what you should be caring about. Right now, we're having issues with our FIGC. We're having issues with the way we handle La Nazionale. And I think, honestly speaking, I saw somebody make a point that I have to agree with. As much as I love Roma, as much as I love Napoli, I give way more of a fuck about the Italian national team than I do about my club teams. I know people have their opinions and their thoughts, but for me, the most pride that I wear is when I put on the Azzurri, when I put on la maglia azzurra. That's when I feel the most pride for my team for soccer. And right now, it hurts. It hurts because it's like every World Cup, for the third World Cup qualification in a row, there's a fucking issue. Who gives a shit? You're in this situation now. You play poorly. You weren't the best team in your group. Norway, above and beyond, was the best team in your group. They deservedly so. So they get the qualification. Now, West, we have to go through playoffs. Emma, you have to understand that in this playoff qualification that you have to do, no fucking excuses. You just go out there and you try to kill it. You're gonna you might have another North Macedonia situation where they're gonna park the bus for 11 minutes for 90 minutes, right? and then going to wait for a counterattack opportunity to score. So keep that in the back of your minds that that's probably going to happen again. So to prevent that from happening again, you know, you learn from your mistakes your last time. You make sure you don't do it again this time around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this time, you don't try to be over the top about it. You just blast those balls at the net. You know, just score. It's what it is. You move them. Like, stop trying to be perfect about it. Fuck, even take shots from long range. I don't care. Just get those balls in the net. That's what it's all about. I truly believe this is what it's going to have to take for us to get into the World Cup. And if this is the pathway we have to go, that's the path. Just get to the show. Just get to the show and then worry about that afterwards. So what I do want to add about all this is that you can't. That's a loser mentality. If you're going on in the media and you're making comments about our qualification method through different other qualification methods, blah blah blah, yada 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 yada, blah blah blah. If that's what you're doing when you're going out to the media, then you're already having issues, and that's not a good mentality. That's showing them that you're trying to find excuses because you're prepping yourself for failure. You're not prepping yourself for success. You're prepping yourself for failure. So like that, when like, let's say you guys get another shocker and you lose to fucking Albania, let's say, if you get pulled up against Albania, right? You can pull up those comments and see, oh, qualification, this, that. Guys, please, who gives a shit? It's the World Cup. Everybody has their own methods of getting there. It's all about equity, not equality. And I think, honestly speaking, that you should have the mentality of, oh, okay, well, we have to go through playoffs. Still, let's do it. It's just another game. That's what it has to be. You're a 4-time world champion. You're an Olympic gold medal winning team. You're a 2-time Euro winner. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's not like as if like this happened like Uruguay like 100 years ago. Like, no, this is recent history. You won the Euro in 2020, 2021. Yeah, people are lightning in the bottle. It's not just lightning in the bottle. There's still a good amount of players from that roster. You know, yeah, it's just, look, you can't always rely on the same guard. You can't rely on the same thing. Just try out something new. For example, Esposito, right? Fantastic player. I think he deserves more and more playing time. He's been the guy who's been the hot foot. Let him play, you know, especially with injuries that have plagued the front. But he's been great. Like, we have the talent. Like, this is why people are like complaining about like this team's not quality. It is quality. It's just you got to play them. You got to play them. As much as I love Di Lorenzo, he cannot play in a 3-man back line.
No,
he cannot play in a 3-man back line at all. He's not defensively sound enough nor fast enough to handle just 3-man back with him. Because if he gets burnt, Italy's got big fucking
over.
hole.
And then you have and again, no knock to some of these guys, but you have Politano playing, you know, right wing back, and we need creativity up front, and he gets caught, you know, exposed defensively, but bro, he's not a fucking defender. No,
and he doesn't play right wing back for Napoli at all. He plays right wing. He doesn't play right wing back. He does. That's what I'm saying. Like, these players are being used out of positions, and then it's just this is what you do if you're a national team coach. Who are my best players? Tonali, Barella, Donnarumma. You know, like, these are the players up front. You know, like, my strikers are phenomenal. Great. How do I capitalize on these guys? Okay, I have to do a basic 4-3-3. I'm going to do a basic 4-3-3 because at least I'll have my best players in the best positions. You don't have to get smart tactically. You don't have to rearrange. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just, these are my best players. This is what I got. Let me just go with that. Who cares if it's a vanilla wafer of a formation? Who cares if it's like the most basic thing? Don't overcomplicate it. Don't try to fit somebody into a hole that they don't fit in.
No, we don't have the time to start fucking experimenting. So.
Exactly. Like, it's not about it. The players themselves organically will fix themselves in a certain way on the pitch. National team gameplay is best on best. It's because these players don't always play with each other. They don't always practice. You don't have these cores anymore that you used to have, because Serie A, that's another issue for another day. It's rare that you'll find like a bunch of Italian players on the same team, and that's your core that you're going forward with. Because you don't have that, just play them in their best, just put them in their best possible positions and let them figure it out. They're professionals for a reason. You're a coach, you get them together. Gattuso's got to be more of a motivator, not a tactician. He has to be the motivator that he is, and just motivate them to go out there and kill. That's what he has to teach them.
I wonder. Oh, sorry, Nick. I'll let you go.
No, I was gonna say, like, I think it's also, you know, people talk about it's a talent issue. It's talent. Yes, we know there's a development issue. There's all
Yeah.
this and that in Italy.
Yeah.
But guys, it's not because of that we lost to Norway. It's not because of that we lost to North Macedonia or Sweden. Those were one game, like you said, Adri, mentality and coaching. I'm not saying that to blame it on Gattuso, but no matter who you develop, once you get to that big game in these qualifiers, you need the proper system. So, everyone's talking about they need to develop young players. What if they need to develop coaching? What if there needs to be a better system-wide FIGC? They play this way, let's say, through the youth levels, and they grow up together. I don't know. I'm not the expert here, but clearly the youth levels are working. Look, U17, they just beat Uzbekistan, a team that qualified for the World Cup at the senior level in the U17 World Cup. U21 team, they always make the Euros. Sure, they haven't won in about 14 years or something, whatever it is, 20 years. But they're competitive. But for some reason, there's a problem when they get to the senior level. And then suddenly they can't play with each other, except for one summer in 2021. And so it's not, yes, Serie needs to do better, this and that. We need better stadiums. We need better broadcasting rights. But guys, it's not because there's a track around the Stadio Olimpico that Italy lost twice in Norway. I think it does come down to coaching. And also, Adri, you're saying before Gattuso won 5 out of 6. I don't think it helped that they basically went through 2 coaches in 8 games in this qualifying phase.
Yeah.
It would have been ideal to have one coach throughout the whole time. That first game against Norway was awful. Spalletti was the problem, obviously, one of the problems. And like I said, as soon as that happened, it felt like they already packed up. They're like, okay, we know this is the playoffs. I think that's what I wanted to say about your points there, guys.
Listen.
The talent's there. The talent's there. It's like a puzzle.
There.
It's like a puzzle,
It is
guys.
there.
You got a puzzle. You got all these pieces, nice painting, whatever. You got to learn how to put it together, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just put a standard formation. Let the boys figure it out. They're pros for a reason. Put on your best 4D. Put on your best 3, and put on your best 3 mids, and put on your best 3 up front. Or if you want to do a 4-4-2 even to have to put more mid options, go ahead. I don't think we have the tactics to handle 3-5-2 right now. We don't have 3 phenomenal ball moving center backs to handle that kind of responsibility. Like, we don't have the BBC anymore. We don't have the Barzagli, Bonucci, Chiellini backline, and we don't have anymore. Mancini, Bastoni is probably the only defender that's on the national team right now that can handle a 3-man backline. You know what I'm saying?
Even him, man. I don't know. Like, I again, I love. Like, I hate that he's an Inter player and all that. And joking aside from that, like, I like him as a player, and he's one of our top players. But I don't know, man. Like, some of these guys, like, we used to criticize Immobile, right? A lot of people Immobile. One player in Serie A, different player when he wears the Azzurri blue. I'm starting to see more and more of those types of players coming to reality. Like, Bastoni for Inter and Bastoni for the Azzurri lately. Maybe it's recency bias and we're just hot-headed and heated and whatnot, but it's not the same. It's not the same player. Barella too. This Inter core, again, it's no knock to them, and I know they play a lot, and I'm not trying to bash them, but I think we're caught in a bit of a rock and a hard place when it comes to formation, because I've been seeing a lot of people saying, well, you need to utilize your players and put them in the best positions for them to do, what they're good at. And totally agree. Absolutely. So you play the 3 at the back because, you have a guy like Mancini, a guy like Buongiorno, a guy like Calafiori, right? That I think are good enough players to string up a defense. You have a guy like Di Marco that is a left wing back. So that's why you kind of integrate, this 3-man back line, which, okay, you want to go forward that, fine. But then who do we play on the other side? Because, again, I don't think it's a Di Lorenzo. And, is it a Cambiaso? Is it a Bellanova? We have some other guys, Coyote, Palestra, Marco Palestra. Like, there's other young names. They're not called up. They're not there. They're not integrated. So again, I don't know.
But
For
this is
me,
sorry,
no,
continue.
go ahead.
No, but like the fact that you bring up Cambiasso and stuff on the right back, I just don't think it's feasible for that. Nick, can you help us out here? Does Cambiasso play in a 3-man back line, or is it a 4-man back line
I
for
think he
Juve?
can play on either wing back, if I'm not mistaken. No,
I mean, I think with Juve, he does play more on the
left, right?
as a wing back on either side, like you said. For
Yeah.
sure, he's played a 3-man back in the past, but not regularly, more like with injuries. But even now, look, they have injuries and they're playing coup miners at a 3-man back versus
Yeah.
Cambiaso. So it goes to show that's not not where they're gonna put him unless it's an emergency.
So that's that. Just to add to your point, Adrian, it's like you have a
Yeah.
lot of these guys for their club teams. They're used to playing with 4 guys. They're used to playing with 4-man back, and now
Well,
it's
except for the intercore,
yeah,
like
yeah,
Dimarco's not a left back.
yeah.
Him defensively, we saw it at the Euros last summer. We've seen it, when he suits up. I'm sorry, great left wing back, and he puts in a wicked ball with that left foot, and he gets going offensively, but he's not a true defender.
So then
He's
try
just not.
then.
So, but we need to have him in the lineup because, you know,
He's a good
logic
player.
dictates, he's our best left-sided player, so he gets into the starting lineup. So that means we have to play a 3-5, whatever.
So here's my thing, right?
I
Like,
would play a 3-4-2-1 if you want to do the 3-back. That's my thing. But anyways,
okay, you could, or like if we're doing a vanilla lineup, you put him as left mid. Just put him
a
as left mid
4-4-2. You're
in a
saying,
4-4-2. Yeah,
yeah,
like you put
back in
him,
the old days.
like just put him as a left mid, so like that he still is in his comfortable zone, but he's still able to like perform. Like he's still, it's something that's like it doesn't expose. I think our defense, like my main issue with this is that our defense core, all players in Italy. I'm not talking about this is an entire Serie A situation. We
Yeah.
don't have defenders that are capable of playing in the 3-man back line or defensively responsible enough to handle a 3-man back line, especially when against the fast teams. We go up against a fast young winger, these guys are burnt, it's over. And then we have a scrambling in the back end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that the 3-man back line needs to go. I think it needs to be a 4-man back line at minimum.
I agree, but I just don't think they will. I don't think it'll. I don't know. I don't see it changing because you want to your point earlier, Johnny. You want your best players in the best positions to do their best. And again,
Yes.
like I said, I totally agree.
And then you have to
And
identify who those are, and DiMarco is one of them.
and I think we kind of have a base. For me, if Tonali's not in that midfield, we're fucking lost in the midfield.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Locatelli, I'm sorry, Nick, but fuck this guy. He cannot play. Put fucking Ricci, put somebody else. He cannot play there. He can't. He loses every ball. He's fucking late to every fucking tackle. It's incredible. Cristante. I'm sorry again. I know he's a fan favorite to some of our listeners. I know that. Whatever. Okay, I get it. But he's not da nazionale. He's not. He's not He's not a national team player. I'm sorry. Some of these guys are just not national team players. We have to identify who our best 11 is. Who's the people coming off the bench that can make an impact? Put out that fucking lineup. 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you want to fucking do. And call it in my head, if they continue with this 3-back, it's a 3-4-2-1. You kind of play that kind of Christmas tree-esque, I think it is, type of formation, a la FC 20, whatever they're at, 5, 6, whatever they're at. And you roll from there. You have that midfield of Tonali and Barella. I like Ricci. I know I'm a bit biased with the Milan links, but I like Ricci, and I think he should get going. It's unfortunate that Rovella got injured and he was out of this camp and he's been away from the national team for a bit, but because I kind of like what he brings as well. But going forward, you put guys like I mentioned the point before when Johnny about Politano. You expose these guys. Di Lorenzo's not a center back. Meanwhile, he plays fucking center back. Every fucking game. It's incredible. He's not fast enough, or quick enough, or maybe reliable enough as a right wing back or right back. So where do we put this guy? People want to get him out of this fucking lineup. I hear you, but now who do we put there? And again, it's a whole mess. At the end of the day, I think like we've been kind of nailing home here. Identify who it is that you want to put into this lineup. Go with that, and motivate these guys to wear the Azzurri boot. Because honestly, and we always refer to Johnny's background on on the show a lot when it comes to the national team, the legends, you know, I've seen a lot of pundits, a lot of podcasters, a lot of content creators, a lot of, if it be former players, if it be, guys in our realm of creating cultural content. We don't have the superstars of the past. And again, I hate always going to the past. Some things are reality. We don't have those superstar players. We just don't. And again, that's fine. We don't have those Maldinis, Nestas, Cannavaros, Tottis, Del Pieros that are on Johnny's background, right? We don't have those guys anymore. But not only do we not have those guys anymore, which is fine, we can kind of turn that page. I slowly feel that it still doesn't click to some of these players what it means to wear the Azzurri blue. Like, you speak to Gianluigi Buffon, because he was on Cassano, Lelia Dani, Nicola Ventola's podcast Viva the Football not too long ago, I think it was, and when he speaks about the national team, it's like he's talking about his wife, his family. Like it's a true love for the national team. These players of today, I don't get that same vibe when they talk about the national team. Yeah, they say it's important. Yeah, they say the shirt weighs a lot, and if it's such an honor and this and that. But I don't see it. We don't see it on the pitch because we're going to a third playoff. Like the Azzurri blue. I mean, I don't know. I'm nowhere near the level of playing for the national team. But I can bet you, if I ever had that talent to be there, I would fight and die for that fucking shirt, for how much it means. Right? I don't see that today. You don't see the, Gattuso the player in today's game. And maybe that's a generational thing. I don't know. That's maybe a different topic for a different day. But, Baggio went out with no knees. Baresi in the final '94 went out with no knees. He had nothing left. They still suited up for the national team. They still showed up. They still went to war. These guys, they're saying they're going to war, but they're not going to war, guys. They might be playing war the card game. I don't know, but they're not fucking actually going to war anymore. So it's a shame. It's a mentality thing. Like I said earlier, I think that's the root cause of, maybe not the root cause, but one of the root causes of all this negativity surrounding the national team. And one thing I wanted to add before, and I know we kind of jumped different topics since then. I kind of wonder if with Gattuso's comments and everybody kind of going a bit crazy about it. To me, I think two things can be true. I do believe that. Like, it is a bit crazy that some of these teams get their path to the tournament is a bit crazier. You think to yourself, oh wow, I only lost 2 games and I'm still fucking struggling to get into the tournament. I see that point, but again, put that all that bullshit aside. I wonder if the FIGC and they're kind of grooming Gattuso not to fucking. We haven't seen him explode yet. I haven't seen him like that cazzima, that grinta that we always put on Gattuso, which has been his entire career. He's a true Calabrese, like to a T. We haven't seen that. Like I would like to see that. Like, these guys haven't gotten a kick in the ass yet. It seems like they haven't felt that wrath of Gattuso. So I don't know if they're kind of polishing him a bit, and I don't know if they're kind of holding him back from kind of pulling those types of antics. I don't know, because I don't know, something doesn't look. It doesn't look like the Gattuso that we know. But that was kind of just another point I wanted to throw in there. But I know we'll have other topics, but just to say.
I did want to talk about the formatting. I mean, at least give my opinion, because some of the reaction I saw online, especially before the Norway game, I completely disagreed with it. Like, I know Carlo brought up, the Brazil example and CONMEBOL. Yes, it's different, and it is weird to look at CONMEBOL 6 out of 10 teams. But you got to realize just how strong CONMEBOL is and the gauntlet they have to go through for qualifying. They play 18 games. Italy played 8. So you can't even say, oh, one team has 6 losses, another team has 2 losses. They don't even play the same amount of games. Let Italy play 18 games and then see if they still have 6 losses. Not only that, this is the rankings for CONMEBOL before the qualification started. July 2023 rankings. You had Argentina first, Brazil third, Uruguay 16th, Colombia 17th, Peru 21, Chile 32, Ecuador 40, Paraguay 49, Venezuela 57, and Bolivia, who's going to the Confederation playoffs at 83. Guys, this is who Italy had to play. The FIFA rankings at the time of the draw last year for the World Cup qualifiers. Norway 43. Italy was
Nine?
grouped. Italy was ninth. But I'm saying Italy was grouped with the lowest ranked pot 2 team, Norway. So out of all the pot 2 teams, this was at the time of the draw the best case in scenario because they were the lowest ranked. Yeah, okay, I know. The
Yeah, but
rankings
these FIFA rankings are like
but-
the FIFA rankings are like the BMI index. It's just
Exactly.
numbers, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like a lot of teams in the 30 to 40 range. Regardless, Norway
Fair.
was ranked 43, Israel 76, Estonia 123, and Moldova 151. So there's no point of even comparing these. And then on top of that, guys, we're all older brothers, right? We all have younger brothers. Imagine you come home one day, you failed your test, but it was a really hard test. There was only 8 questions, but the passing was 85%, 90%. You got 2 questions wrong. Your brother comes home the same day, passes his test, 18 questions. He got 6 wrong, but he still passed the test. All good. You think you could use that excuse on your mothers? But Giuliano, but Massimo, but Matteo, they got 6 wrong. I only got 2 wrong. No, they failed. What do you want to do? Like, Jenny, you're the teacher. You know that at a certain point, there's a pass-fail mark, and it changes for every class, for every grade. So you can't compare. You can't sit and whine about it after the fact that you've already lost. If you want to complain about the format, you have to do it beforehand. You know
what?
Yeah.
One thing I would add into all this is that we listen. Some of these things people want to say they're flawed. Sweden 0 wins. And they're in the playoffs with the Nations League bullshit, whatever. They have that performance. It carries over, whatever. They're in the playoffs. 0 wins. Like, for me, I don't care. You play 10 games or 100 games. If you have 0 wins, you should be nowhere near the big dance. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is the one issue of the format I have, that they give additional chances to teams from the Nations League,
like,
not even from the World Cup qualifying. And then Italy has to play one of these teams that, okay, yes, they're ranked a bit lower, but if you look at the pots for tomorrow's draw, the Nations League teams are in pot 4, even though they're ranked higher. Like Sweden is ranked 43rd, Romania 47th, and they're in pot 4. Meanwhile, there's Kosovo and Bosnia at 71 and 80 in pot 3. So if you're gonna do something, do it properly. You know,
that's
so
flawed.
that I don't like. It should have been 12 teams. Pot 1 teams get a bye. Pot 2, 3 teams play each other, and that's it. Who cares about Nations League in this case?
Yeah. No, listen, I don't know. It's we can have a whole other, I feel like, podcast just talking about all that bullshit. But
regardless at this point, any team that Italy could face, whether it's Poland, Wales, Czechia, Slovakia, Ireland, Albania, Bosnia, Kosovo, Sweden, Romania, North Macedonia, or Northern Ireland, they have to beat them. There's no excuses, right? And I'm not even going on the fact that, we're Italy, we have 4 World Cups. Just the current edition. This team's better than all those teams. They have to win. They can't not win. They've learned. They have to have learned from the past 2 editions, losing to Sweden. I understand Sweden was actually a decent team at the time, but the loss against North Macedonia was worse. So they have to avoid that. They have no Portugal on the other side this time, like in 2022.
People forget what would have happened last time if they would have won.
Yeah. You know, losing to Portugal would have been less embarrassing than North Macedonia, but whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see draw tomorrow morning. But any of these teams, Italy has to beat.
No, it's very simple. I mean, Johnny, I think kicked off the show with it, right, guys? We have to get to the World Cup. There's no two ways about it. We have to get it. And again, will this even if how can I say this? If we make it to the World Cup, it's still a big band-aid over this huge scab that is Italian football, that is the FIGC, that is all the problems politically in Italy, that is, you know, oh, the kids don't play on the streets anymore like they used to. Non gioca per strada. Bro, you think the fucking Norwegian kid is playing in the fucking streets in the middle of December, January? That he's fucking shoveling snow more than he is over here in Montreal. He lives, they have to make an igloo, and this guy's talking about, oh, the kids don't play in the streets anymore. Holland, I don't know. He plays in the streets, he plays in the snow, he plays in the mountains. He can play wherever the fuck he wants. He's gonna score 2, 3, 4 goals. What does he have? He had 16 goals, Holland. I think it was in 8 games.
Yes, he had 16, and I think Italy had 21 or 23.
21, I think, total.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? He had 16 in 8 games. He was scoring 2 goals a game. Like, what are we talking about? Like, it's again, we're gonna beat a dead horse here, but Italy has to win. Italy has to get into the World Cup. I'm tired of fucking tuning into these World Cups and Italy not being there, not having something to truly cheer about. Because yes, Canada's there. We're gonna support for sure, but it just brings a different buzz and a different feeling when Italy's in the World Cup or any of these tournaments, right? Like, I don't know, like it's we're I don't know if we grew up in the best era for culture. I don't know if you want to say that, but you know we got to see Italy participate. We got to see Italy win tournaments. If it be World Cup, if it be the Euros, like Johnny mentioned earlier. There's kids out there, young Italian kids that haven't even seen Italy in the World Cup. Haven't even seen them. Forget win the thing. Haven't even seen them participate in the fucking event. Participate. So that right there you should be embarrassed as a player on this team to not make it to a third one in a row. And listen, it was clear, like you said, Nick, earlier, that their heads were for March. They were saying it I like to listen to these press conferences before, after, during, whatever. I like to kind of tune in, listen in when I can to what's being said, because a lot of times you go online and things get twisted, right? Things get twisted of how things are said, and you kind of want to maybe hear it for yourself if you can get the source of what's being said. And they were already talking about March, a while ago. March was already seemed to be circled because it seemed insurmountable to be able to achieve the first place. We needed a miracle. We needed Norway to slip up. We needed 9-0 result. Like, guys, this is not reality. This is not realistic. So come March, I don't care who it is. It doesn't. It shouldn't even. People are saying, "Oh, well, who do you think would? They have the best chances." I don't care. They have. Italy should be scared of all these teams, but they have no choice but to win. So, scared or not, or if you want to admit that or not, they need to win. What's that quote in Rocky? Was it Rocky 2? When he's Adrian's in the coma.
You're the Rocky fan.
Adrian's in the coma, right? And and Sly, he's there next to the bed there, and she's just trying to wake up, right? She's just coming out of the coma, and what does she say to him? Something along the lines like, "I just want you to do one thing for me," and he's like, "What?"
Win.
Win. And then the fucking cue the Bill Conti fucking training montage, right? Like, we need the fucking put that on. I don't care. Win. Just win, right? Al Davis, right? Oakland Raiders, just win, baby. I mean, the quotes and the analogies tonight are flowing like crazy, but it's very simple. It's three letters. WIN, win. That's all Edu needs to do.
Guys, I do want to talk about Serie, but
One other. Well, actually, wait before we go there. there was another topic that I kind of we've had many discussions on this show concerning this guy, and I hate always bringing him up, but he seems to always be relevant in these conversations with the Azzurri. Because we don't know who we're gonna have, right, come March, right? That's the biggest thing, and we're not gonna be able, Gattuso's gonna have limited time to really band this group together. I'm hopeful that everybody is healthy enough to be there for March, because I think we're gonna need our full squad available. But do you think he goes knocking? Do you think he extends that call out once again for Federico Chiesa, or is that just a mirage at this point? Do you guys think? Because I have certain opinions. I just
Go
want to
first.
kind of hear your guys. Johnny, I don't know if you thought of anything.
I mean, if he's healthy enough and he's performing better than others on the pitch, he merits a spot. Then why not?
Because like if you listen to the reports, he refused the 2 times. So I don't know.
Chiesa refused it 2 times for the call. Yeah, because but you have to commend Chiesa for that, because he doesn't feel he's up to par for it. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want to go, because he doesn't want to go up and give a poor product. Now, whenever he feels possible or good enough to go play, sure, why not? However, my personal opinion is that you always go for the most informed players. You don't go for legacy as much.
Name.
Like you always go for who deserves to be there and who is the best player to be there. You always have to go with your best options. You can't go for legacy. Now, the thing is that sometimes there's players with potentials where it's like, if you don't bring them, sometimes they have an X factor that can make a difference. You know what I mean? But it's like, I'll give the perfect example, Cassano. Cassano was that player that you saw all the talent was there. All the potential was there. Serie, this kid was a wonder kid. He was putting players in his pocket with his dribbling abilities, scoring great goals, great offensively talent. Then he falls off a cliff in a sense of like, his career takes a bit of a nosedive. He's problematic and whatnot. And I recall watching, I remember it perfectly. I was watching Euro 2008. I went to a cafe with friends after an exam day one day because I was in Sec 4. So after one of my exams, there was an Italy game against, was it the Spain game or was it one of I forget which game it was. I think it was the last group stage game. And they put Cassano on. And the guy looked so lost. He looked so out of place, out of sorts, wobbling around in terms of like, he didn't seem like he knew what he was doing in a sense, And I'm like, what has happened to Antonio Cassano? Like, what has happened to this guy? And I don't want Chiesa to be another Cassano in a sense where it's like a player who has got a lot of potential and a lot of plays, but if he's gone for so long, even though you bring him because his name is Chiesa, when you put him on, you're like, ooh, you know what I mean? Like you're like, yikes, you know what I mean? Like you just wasted a sub slot. So I kind of like the fact that he's holding himself back because he doesn't feel up to par with it. And I want him to, because I love Chiesa. I absolutely love Chiesa.
Yeah,
and I want him to come back.
Yeah.
I want him to come back and be that for him. But I'm also worried that his time in Liverpool, like not seeing the pitch often, has probably taken away of who Federico Chiesa is. And I don't want it I need him to come back to Serie A to get regular playing time again before shit hits the fan. Fuck, Fiorentina's at the bottom of the table. Wouldn't it be a great time to come back to your basically your home club and try to save them? And that's where you can find your confidence. Hello,
Yeah,
Rocco, Comiso, Signore, give a call. Get him back. You might even get him for cheap from Liverpool because they're not using him. But anyways, but I want to see them try other like now it's kind of too late because now you're in the playoff point. But this could have been the time to like, especially after that first loss versus Norway. You're like, you know what? Okay, playoffs it is. Let's maybe we try out the X player. Let's try out Camarda. Let's see how Camarda does. Or it started the Serie A season. Baschirotto was just on a different level for center backs. Maybe we try him I remember I joked around about Baschirotto being like the third option for right in the middle in a 4-man back line being the third or fourth CB. Like, fuck it, give it a shot, see how he does. Who's this? You know what I mean? Like sometimes that some of the best surprises come from the most random of places. if you want to use, I know it's a different time, I know it's a different era, but Grosso was a Palermo player for Italy back in 2006.
In 06, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was the outlier. You had an Inter core, you had a Juve core, you had a Roma core, and then you had Grosso, the Palermo player, right? Like you never know. Sometimes you just never know. Sometimes it doesn't matter where these guys play. Sometimes it's all about who's the most informed player. So where was I going with this? What I was saying is that in the terms of Chiesa,
Would
and
you
in
call
general,
would you call him up in March?
yeah, in general, if he is in form, if from now until March he's getting more playing time, or he has a Rinascimento sort of thing of like maybe he's doing well for Liverpool and they're using him as a starter, or during the winter window he gets transferred back to a Serie A team, which I think he should come back home, and he starts playing very well for them. Fuck it, give it a shot. Right now you're at a point where it's like you obviously you can't fuck up because you're in playoffs, but you also need to you can't get comfortable, and you can't just expect you have to stop trying to squid a square piece in a round hole type of thing. So
yeah,
you want somebody who could play right wing or right wing back? Chiesa. You know what I'm saying? Like Chiesa can do both. He played right wing back in Pirlo's system for Juve. You know, he has that sense. He plays right wing. I think he's probably absolute at his absolute best in the right wing spot. I think he's better on his best day. I think Chiesa is better than Politano, and I say this as a Napoli fan. I think on his best day, Chiesa is better than Politano.
That's not much of a stretch. No offense.
Yeah. But a lot of people shit on Politano. Politano's not bad. Like he's not a world beater. He's not a legendary player, but he's not bad. He's a guy where when I see him in the lineup, like Napoli fans like to joke like, oh, he's a terrorist. We like to joke like he's a terrorist for this for Serie A and whatnot. And like there's people that hate him because sometimes he does a bit too much and you lose that ball. But the guy was second place to Yamin Lamal in terms of beats, in terms of dribble attempts beaten, like like beating a player, like
dribbles completed.
Like he's not horrible either for like he's a guy. If I see the lineup, I don't think he's the problem of the lineup because he's always in the spot that he's supposed to be.
Yeah, you got the assist, right? Was it Pio's goal the first game against Moldova, right? Or this window first game?
Yeah, like so, I don't think that if I see him in the lineup, I'm like he's the problem of the lineup. It's not. When I see the problem in the lineup, I see it's a Di Lorenzo on a 3-man back line on the right. That's where I see the problem there. But anyways, that's from a previous combo. In terms of Chiesa, if by some divine miracle he's ready to play in March and he has like some kind of resurgence, sure, why not? But if he's still not getting any playing time in Liverpool, if even himself he feels that he's so disconnected from it, I'd say let him stay home then if he doesn't want to come. At this point, just like you should have as much as I love Chiesa, is Chiesa going to be that one player that makes that difference to qualifying for a World Cup or not? It should not be on Chiesa. Not that it's not Chiesa as being a good player. It's a sense that we're Italy. We're not a team that needs to rely on one player. Like besides Roberto Baggio back in the day, like where this guy was a world beater on his own, the squad has never been about one player. It's always been success as a unit, failure as a unit. So if Chiesa's not able to make it, you have talent enough to make up for that hole. As full respect to Chiesa, this is not talking poorly about Chiesa. It's more about no excuse. If there's no Chiesa, you should have a guy who's good enough to be the next man up.
I agree. I mean, I it's 4 months away, so we have to see with injuries and all that between now and
that's the biggest thing,
March,
right? We don't know who's going to be available, right? Come March,
who's going to be hot.
True.
So I think it's too early to call. Yes, if he's good, if he's playing well, of course, call him up. But he's borderline. Like, don't call him up just because of something he did. It's going to be 5 years ago and expect him to carry the team. Like Johnny said, you can't rely on one player. So, I think right now, besides Donnarumma, Italy's most important player for those games is Retegui. So I hope he stays healthy. they just need to go out and score
I think
goals
I think
in those
Keane too.
two
I
two
think Keane
potential
needs to
games.
get in there.
Sorry,
I said I
Keane?
think Keane needs to get in there too because it showed that we kind of missed him in this window. But anyways, on the he has a topic. Honestly, like he keeps on refusing whatever, and like I think he was in better form ahead of this window, and he was playing a bit more. Again, I don't follow the Premier League to a T. I just kind of see what I've seen from afar. But again, like I don't know, like how many more times you're gonna like refuse it? Like Gattuso's extending the invite. He wants you to come along. This would have maybe been the time to kind of integrate him because again, he's not integrated. To Johnny's point, the Cassano point in '08, you know, yes, he knows these most of these players, if not all, right? He's kind of had a bit of a relationship probably with again majority of the team, if not all. He's played in Serie A, so he knows the vibe. But again, he hasn't been integrated into this new quote unquote Italy. So I don't know. Like for me, yeah, okay, extend the invite, but I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna lose sleep if he doesn't get called up for this upcoming window for March because at the we got to this point without him. Is he the one that's the X factor, like you guys said, to that's gonna push us over the edge and qualify us for the World Cup? Maybe. I think he can have a piece in it if he's you know level between the years and he's ready to go and he's in form and all that for sure because he has the talent. The talent is there, but is he gonna I don't think he's the one that's gonna is gonna move the needle for this team. I think like we've said it times on the show, it's gonna have to be the unit, the team, the collective that's gonna have to move the needle, not the one player. Because personally, in this Italy, our best player is between the sticks. Our best player is between the sticks, Donnarumma, and
Agreed.
I would put
Agreed.
Tonali in there because I think in that midfield, if Tonali's not there, it's a different midfield. If he's there, you see the difference. It's clear with the eyes. For me personally, other people can disagree. That's fine. But who's our leader? We're gonna depend on a Chiesa that's been out of this Azzurri camp for since when? I think it was the Euro, right? The Euro loss was the last time. The last game of the Euro 2024 was the last time he suited up for Italy, if I'm not mistaken. He's been out of the loop a bit. So if you want to integrate him back into the loop, you're gonna have to kind of find that time. But now we're on a bit of a time crunch where I don't know if it's the right time. So again, for me, it wouldn't. I'm not. Like I said, I'm not going to cry over it. I'm not going to lose sleep if he doesn't get called up or if he refuses again. I mean, I know it's going to be a big thing in the papers and in the Italian papers and on social media. I know just because of the name and who he is and the situation that the Azzurri are in, that's going to get talked about. But again, guys, I wouldn't lose sleep over it. We should have enough quality with the players available. Hopefully, again, knock on wood, but Icarni that people are healthy and ready to go come March. I know tomorrow is when we'll know kind of who we'll face in the first match, and we need to win and then kind of see where we go from there and who we play next. But yeah, I just circle back to mentality, not having a leader. Like who no, like, I don't know. Guys, I'm lost of words sometimes with this this national team, which is crazy because I don't think we have a leader. Like Gigio wears the armband, but I don't know. There's nobody on the pitch that's a real leader in my opinion. So we kind of lack that, and again, I don't think it's a guy like Chiesa that's gonna take that role on. So in or out for me, it doesn't matter. We should have enough quality to, like we said earlier, to go out, win, and let's get into the World Cup, and then we'll see, and then we'll talk. Because once Italy is in the World Cup, our problem is getting into the World Cup. But once we're in the World Cup, then things can kind of, with a bit of luck, with a bit of this, with a bit of that, things can happen, right? We've seen it in tournaments. Italy is a tournament team. Once they're in the tournament, you never know what can really transpire. You can go all the way, you can get disappointed, you can kind of go a bit further than expectation. So let's just get into the World Cup and and then maybe we'll be able to talk more.
Guys, I feel like we're on the topic of the World Cup. I know we won't have time to talk about Serie this week, but two last things I did want to bring up.
Me too.
One about Italy, one about the World Cup in general. I just wanted to share this with you guys. A comment we got on Instagram. The only comment we posted, if people's thoughts on Italy and the World Cup qualification. This one's from Brazil. So I didn't study Portuguese to not pull it out at some point on the Calcio Guys podcast. Italia irá para a Copa do Mundo sim, e Gattuso vai colocar sangue nos olhos desses jogadores até a Copa. Pode ter certeza disso. Italy will go to the World Cup. Gattuso is going to put blood into the eyes of these players until the World Cup. You could be certain of that. So I just wanted to share that. Pull out the Portuguese. Thank you for that comment.
The most Anglo accent ever.
Exactly.
They're gonna criticize you.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll take it. But I did want to ask.
Say it out of love, Nick. I say it out of love.
I know. We have.
Well, let's hope that fucking comment comes to reality. I don't know what was the name.
We'll save it. We'll save it for March.
What was the name? Carolina, Catalina. What was the name?
Cornelia.mk.
Okay, God bless you. You know what? Speriamo. Let's hope. That happens because we have no choice.
So we know. I think it's 42 of the 48 teams now in the World Cup. Obviously, a lot of the major players are there, but a lot of new teams or teams that haven't made the World Cup in a long time. Is there one team you guys are excited to watch? Because I think for me, it's maybe two of the teams in CONCACAF. Haiti, obviously here in Montreal, big Haitian community. I'm happy for them. I think it's 1978 or 1974 they haven't made the World Cup. I think that will at least, make it fun for people here in Montreal. I know Jenny, especially Saint Michel, a lot of Haitians there. So that'll be a party time come June when they play. I'm not sure they'll do well. I mean, we see Canada play them sometimes. They're not the best team. But Curaçao, I think, is one team that they're growing. They went undefeated in qualification. First round, I think they went 4-0. Second round, they had 3 wins, 3 draws. And this is a team that uses a lot of players of Dutch descent who actually play in Europe. So it is a small island nation, 150,000 people. But a lot of these players are from outside the island and play for the Curaçao national team. I think they could be I'm not sure if they'll have any impact, but it's just a team to watch. It'll be interesting. First World Cup, we'll see. I think that's definitely a name that we'll talk about a lot come Curaçao. Almost like Canada in 2022. I know Canada is not a small island nation of 150,000 people, but Canada had made its first World Cup. Was a first World Cup in a long time. Was a growing team. So I feel like Curaçao could have that same impact.
You're gonna have to pull up the list, bro. I don't even know who's there.
I think I have mine already. Besides, obviously, host nations in Canada, because that's our home country and whatnot. I'm excited to see Japan. Japan, every World Cup seems to, in the most recent World Cups, seem to have this crazy game, at least in one of them, that they beat a former world champion, or they surprise and beat a team that's ranked much better than they are. It's always fun watching them. It's always fun to see that, and it's a nation that has really picked up on their they've always been big on soccer. They've always been really big on soccer, and it's just been more and more surprising as the years go by. Besides that, I'm curious to see if Morocco is able to repeat their run that they did a few years back, where they went all the way to the semis. I'm curious to see if they're able to repeat that. I'm not saying that I doubt that they will. I'm just saying if they're able to either build up on that, or if they inspired other African nations to be like, guys, we hit the semis, you guys can do it too. And, maybe see AFCON probably get their first world champion. On a realistic point of view, I don't see either an AFCON team winning the World Cup. But, and I say this sincerely, I wouldn't be surprised if the team makes a push. I wouldn't be surprised because it's been picking up. But if I have to choose one team besides obviously Canada, I want to see who Japan beats. I want to see what kind of run Japan goes on for this World Cup.
Yeah, listen, I have no fucking opinion on this because I don't know, I didn't have time to prepare. But joking aside, like I guess it's a big applaud for some of these debut nations. You see the Cap Verdes in there, you see the Jordans, you see the Uzbekistan, right? Cannavaro's Uzbekistan, which again I don't know too much about, but we kind of pull obviously for our Italians abroad, I guess, if you will. So let's see if they make some noise. I know he took that job and seemed to do pretty well, and good enough to be able to make the World Cup. And um, I find that exciting. I think another team that has been around, but whatever, in the UEFA would be maybe like a Scotland, maybe. I've heard some positives, in and around the Scotland camp there. So, we see some of the Scottish talent in Serie A, right, with McTominay and Gilmore and other players. So you kind of maybe hope for some of these young not younger, but these lower UEFA nations to do well. But other than that, I think besides Italy having to get into this, I just want to see Canada make that next step as well. It's enough, and it's of the okay, well, now we're here and let's hopefully do so. Like, we want to see a win. We want to see a win in the World Cup. We want to see that as Canadians, right? So um are they there yet? I think everybody has a different opinion on that. Personally, I think they're there, but I think there is still another kind of level to achieve and to kind of get to. I don't think they've put all the pieces together just yet, and that's fine because I think this is a continuous building block of a nation, right? So um, I I I would be delighted to see them pick up a win. If it be at home, I think that would be even more electric and one of those other, Canadian heritage moments, right? That we like to say. But I think besides that, I think is and the other things that I mentioned about, the debut teams and Uzbekistan for Cannavaro and maybe Scotland because I've heard some good things about them. So I and just even again, I know we get kind of caught up with the superstars, and it's always a big talk about all the superstars. But a player like Ronaldo, a player like Messi, Modric, going to what is it, a sixth World Cup if I'm not mistaken for these guys, for these players. I was reading, is it five or six now? Should be
It
six,
would be
right?
six, oh
It would be,
six, 2010, 2014, 2018, 2022, 2026.
yeah. So it would go on to six. So you know what? It's another thing just to touch on, just because it's just remarkable. Like, let alone making one two, or two, but going to six straight, like it's really impressive, and it just shows how much of a class above these world stars, these superstars are at. So, um, you know, again, love them or hate them, have your opinion on them or whatnot. That's fine. Who's better? Who's the goat? All that good stuff, but I think it's commendable to be able to be playing at the highest of levels for this long and still be, relevant enough to be entering and potential and going to be participating in your sixth World Cup. It's almost unheard of. So again, just that would be another talking point as well for not who's going to surprise and who you're interested about, but just another thing to kind of note down, because for me it's super impressive, and these guys are going into their 40s and they're still producing at a high level. So it speaks volumes for those types of players.
Crazy to think it's gonna be 20 years since the '06 World Cup.
20 years.
20
Oh
years.
my God, where has time gone?
20 years since Italy even last won a knockout game in the World Cup. Hopefully they're there
Well, tomorrow
to
we
wrap it
kind
up.
of see where
Yeah,
tomorrow we see what we get. What's
yeah,
what's the first? What's the entree, right? For for
exactly.
for this for this thing. But one thing I want to kind of say before we wrap this up, and I know we're kind of short on time here, but um, you mentioned Serie A, Nick, before. We kind of had the ticker going on the screen there, the games and what the times are, whatever. But Sunday is the Derby della Madonnina, right? It's obviously a big game in Serie A, obviously for the two Milano teams, but here locally, it's gonna be a big matchup as well. Again, I'm biased because I'm part of Milan Club Montreal, but Milan Club Montreal partnering up with FC Supra for a watch party at Charos here in St. Leonard in Montreal. Should be a big event. I've heard some good rumblings about it. Behind the scenes. A lot of the FC Super staff. Obviously, our buddy and president Rocco Pochettino. I think Nick DeSantis, the coach, some of the other guys are going to be there. So along with us from Milan Club Montreal. But it's an open event. It should be a lot of fun to kind of get the local flair that we've kind of touched upon with FC Supra and a local fan club here in the city, right? For Milan Club Montreal. So it's a good initiative. I think it's the start of many from what I've been hearing. Things they want to kind of do in the community. So again, it's just a cool thing that I just wanted to put it out there. FC Supra collaborating with Milan Club Montreal, Milan Inter, and I know Rocco's an Inter fan, so it should be fun to kind of go back and forth with him. So any listeners that are available, Sunday 2:45 to Charles is a spot to be for the Derby della Madonnina in collaboration with Milan Club Montreal and FC Supra. So we'll be there, and personally, Nick, I don't know, I can't wait.
Yeah. Calcio guys will be there. Maybe not Jenny though. But Asia, you know the drill. Where can people find
that
us on
was
social media?
That's kind of how I wanted to end off the show. And again, guys, I know this was kind of a doom and gloom kind of negative episode to an extent with some positives sprinkled in. But like Nick opened the show with, we're going to end the show off as well. You can follow us on all social media platforms at the Calcio guys. Very, very simple. Give us a follow. It really does go a long way. For the audio version of the podcast, you can find us on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Remember to rate with 5 stars. Leave a comment there as well. And for all video content of the pod, subscribe on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, post notifications, all that good stuff. For long form video content, for YouTube shorts, all that good stuff. So subscribe there. And we'll be back next week to talk a lot more culture.
Oh, thanks for listening.
Ciao.
Bye.